We're going to tell you about our worst excursion experience ever. And we got to tell you up front, we've been on many excursions and had a great time, a lot of fun on our excursions in Alaska.
Cozumel, the Bahamas.
Yeah, but this one took the cake. So the name of the excursion was Mountaintop Shopping and Downtown Exploration. This was in St. Thomas, the U.S. Virgin Islands. And Mountaintop is a place you can go to that's world famous. Banana daiquiris are an attraction I've heard of and wanted to try.
The wonderful views.
Yeah, the views at the very top of the mountain on this beautiful mountainous island. It was $69 per person, and it was slated to take 3 hours.
3 hours.
Yep. And just so you know, we booked it directly through Norwegian Cruise Line, but I believe this tour company does excursions for all of the cruise lines, and it was a third party operating it. And I gotta say, apart from this excursion, our Norwegian Escape cruise was awesome. My favorite show I've ever experienced on any cruise ship, The Choir of Man, was incredible.
Yes, we had breakfast every day at Oceans. Get the French toast and the fruit bowl.
What about Food Republic?
Food Republic had amazing sushi, and you like the
ahi tuna nachos. But this video is about our excursion experience. So let's talk about the specific experience with this tour company. We were really excited to go to Mountaintop. Like I said, the title of it is Mountaintop Shopping and Downtown Exploration. So there's a couple parts. Headed up to the mountain first, downtown shopping later. We went outside to wait outside of the ship at the end of the dock. We were there about 10 minutes early. We didn't need to be there that early. We were in line with all the other people in the sun for a total of about 30 minutes because he was about 20 minutes late. But when he finally showed up, we got on board the open air safari bus.
And it's really open air, meaning there's no windows. It's just cut out to look out. And it's the truck and then the outside. Nothing really in between us, and no seatbelts.
No seatbelts. Yeah, I didn't expect that. But I did know it was a safari bus from the description of the excursion. But I wasn't expecting it to be completely open with no seatbelts. On one side of the bus where you get in, it was completely open where you could just step off at any moment. The side we fortunately were on, we had a little bit of a barrier, but they picked us up and we headed up the mountain, literally. And we headed up the mountain, we curved through busy streets, going through the downtown area, and then got to residential areas, winding roads with very steep drop-offs.
Right.
And very narrow, curvy roads with questionable condition. You can see here somebody actually used spray paint to post a warning that this area was caving in and is dangerous. So it didn't make us real comfortable. We didn't have seatbelts, and we were swerving around corners with the driver honking his horn to warning people on blind curves that we were coming. So it was a great cruise. We didn't like the fact that we thought that we might die. But if you do like this sort of information, you find this helpful, be sure to give us a thumbs up. We would appreciate it. When we got up to the top of the mountain, probably about after 20 minutes or so, we got to Mountaintop.
Yay!
There was this huge building with a huge sign, world famous banana daiquiris. I was going to make a beeline to the banana daiquiris even before the bus driver said, okay, you got 30 minutes.
30 minutes?
Which out of a 3-hour excursion, I hoped we would have been at the main attraction for longer than 30 minutes.
Right.
We headed inside. We could see this was a huge building.
It was huge.
Tons of shopping. And of course, the banana daiquiri stand was all the way at the back.
Of course.
I suggested I would go get us each a banana daiquiri, wait in line there while she headed out to the balcony area to take some photos. She got some beautiful shots.
Yes, I did. The scenery was incredible and beautiful. I wish I would have been able to stay there longer to enjoy it further.
And as you might expect, we didn't finish our banana daiquiris until we got back to the safari bus. And we didn't get a chance to do any of that shopping. The biggest souvenir store I've ever been in my life. And we didn't have time to even look.
I mean, 30 minutes to get a daiquiri, to enjoy the view, and then try and buy something really quickly is not enough.
And the main reason we booked this excursion was because we heard how great Mountaintop was, the banana daiquiris, the view. And the shopping would have been nice too. But it was time to get back on the safari bus, take our lives into the hands of the driver once again as he headed down a much faster experience than going up because gravity was on our side or against us. But he seemed to have more of the right of way. He wasn't honking as much as we flew down the curves going down, but the ride was definitely fast, definitely scary. He did stop a couple times on the way up and on the way down again to point out some attractions, point out some of the things in the distance. He pointed out the airport on the island. And at that point, I actually felt like I was in an airplane because it felt like we were up so high. But it was nice that he stopped and showed us some things. And you mentioned we saw some animals like a rooster and I think
goats and chickens.
So it was interesting, but it was also a little scary.
Yeah.
So we got finally down to sea level.
Yay.
We could see our ship in the distance. We were in downtown. He dropped us off by a park, saying he'd be back in a little bit. And he told us we had 90 minutes to take a look around.
90 minutes?
That's right. So about 3/4 of the whole time we had off of the safari bus, we would spend in the area that we didn't care about. But the downtown area was kind of quaint. It had this nice little pedestrian street area. Some shops, souvenir shops, jewelry stores, a couple bars and a restaurant. While Joy was in one of the stores, one of the couples that was on the safari bus came up to me and asked if I would let our driver know that they decided to take a taxi back to the cruise ship. I said I would. Joy came out. She pointed out that meant that we were now stuck there until he came back and we couldn't take a cab. I wish he'd been out there with me and I could have told him, take us with you. Anyway, we found a nice little shop near the pickup point and we went in there and hung out for half an hour, 45 minutes and killed time, had an ice cream cone. And it ends up that store was associated with Mountaintop, the place that we weren't able to stay at very long, but a very small convenience store sized version of the actual Mountaintop. As we ate our ice cream cones, we looked out and we could see our cruise ship from across the harbor. Realized later it was about 2 miles away. It seemed too far to walk. And we couldn't really take a cab because we had a project and assignment from the other couple. Before we tell you the last surprise on this excursion, be sure to subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Doesn't cost anything, it's just a way to follow us so you don't miss our future cruise videos. Now we got to tell you about the end. He returned with a bus, the safari bus. We got back on and he pulled up into this other shopping area after going through traffic around the harbor and he stopped. And we all kind of looked at each other like, why are we stopping? We don't want to shop again. We just spent 90 minutes in an area we didn't want to shop in. And he informed us that this is where we got dropped off.
Yep.
3/4 of a mile from the gate to our dock where our cruise ship was. He said that they don't allow him back in. He has to drop us off there. In hindsight, maybe we should have walked the 2 miles from around the harbor and saved ourselves some time. So, final thoughts on this excursion?
The scenery was beautiful up on top, and the daiquiris were good.
Yeah, they're okay.
Mm-hmm.
But $69 isn't a lot to pay for 3 hours of an excursion you enjoy. But honestly, only about 30 minutes of it were really enjoyable. A lot of the rest of it was terrorizing and boring. Don't recommend this excursion. We know it sounds like we're complaining. We just want to give you the warning that this is maybe not as great as it sounds. If we were to do this again and you want to get that great view, my suggestion is find a reliable cab driver. Ask them to drive you to Mountaintop. The parking up there is really limited, and those safari buses crowd into that little circle, and they fill it up really quickly. So I'm guessing that's why they only give 30 minutes. But you don't need to spend the extra time downtown if you're not interested in shopping. Right. So take a cab or just skip that excursion altogether and do something else. It's a beautiful island with great people, but we don't recommend that excursion.
Yeah.
If you'd like to see some more cruise information, be sure to watch this video next.